Hello crypto boys and ghouls, and welcome back to the channel, Tales from the Cryptomancer, where we feature content on play to earn games on the blockchain such as Splinterlands. And in today's video I wanted to draw your attention to 7 specific cards in Splinterlands that I feel are hidden gems and great values in the market that you can scoop up today and quite likely have some good returns on your assets in the future. Now, this is not financial advice, of course, it's informational purposes only, but I wanted to share this with you because I did share this information with my Twitch stream the other day and I wanted my YouTube audience to see it as well. So before we go into the card gems themselves, we should probably take a moment to define what really makes a card a quote gem. So in my mind, there are 5 criteria that I've looked at here. One is that the card is a top meta card, or it's viable to be in the meta for the foreseeable future based on the stats or abilities that it has. Number 2, it has the potential to multiply in value substantially, and this is based on historic precedents of similar cards to it maybe in previous editions or similarly statted or similar roles or similar abilities that the card might have. Number 3, it's desirable for new players. So at bronze or even at silver level at 1 BCX, the card is competitive and is value added. And 4, desirable for competitive players. So players at the gold, diamond, or champion levels will want to use this card, will want to level it up, and will want to purchase multiple copies of it. Number 5 is also probably the most relevant here, and that this is a gem is going to be a card that is likely to be leveled up in the future, meaning that the cards will be burned and the supply of the card ultimately reduced. So let's hop into some of these details. And the first card I want to talk about is probably not a surprise. It's Jinshuala. And this card, the current card price here was actually taken before the end of season. So it's this price is a couple days old here, but the price here just recently was $4.16. Now, 3-month high price via Splinter cards was $14.49. So just 3 months ago, this card was selling for quite a bit more. And you can see already from a market history perspective that this price could definitely increase back to that 3-month price quite easily. And that would be a 3x on your asset being returned to you if you sold it. Now, we also know, if you've been around the game for a little bit, that when Jinshuala first came out, it was selling quite easily at $50, sometimes as high as $60. And yeah, I mean, it could definitely get to that price in the future potentially as well. We'll have to see how the adoption of the game continues and how many new users come into the game. But I can tell you that this card will be in demand in the meta for new users once it goes out of print. We'll talk about that in just a second why. But before we go there, let's talk a little bit about the closest existing card comparison for Jinshuala, and that's probably the Void Dragon, which is also a Chaos Legion card, not a reward card, but actually a Chaos Legion card. And the reason why the Void Dragon is similar is because of its magic damage, its high speed, its tank usage, its phase, and its void that it has. So the Void Dragon is probably closest to Jinshuala. It's a little bit cheaper in mana, so it's kind of like a mini Oceanus, but its price is $5.86, so it's a little bit more expensive than the reward card here in Jinshuala. But let's see why this card is going to be in demand. So if you can fast forward to, let's say, December of this year, 6 months down the line, if you're a new player into the game and Jinshuala is out of print and you can't get them anymore, would you want Jinshuala? The answer to that question is probably, as a new player, 99.99% of the time is yes. And the reasons why this card is so good is, well, first of all, it's a very strong tank. Not just a tank that exists in the game, but a very meta tank. And as we all know, tanks are the basis for your team. Every team needs at least one tank, and for water, Jinshuala is one of the best out there. It can certainly be used as an off tank as well, but as a tank it does its job quite well. Another reason why this card will be meta now and in the future is it's not affected by Giant Killer. It's a legendary card with very good stats and abilities, but it's under 10 mana, so it's not going to get whacked by a Giant Killer card. Additionally, it has unique abilities that other cards don't have, and it makes it meta because of its high speed, its phase, and its force field. The force field is a lot of times, I think, underrated, but when you get hit by something that does, over 5 damage, like a sandworm, you're only taking 1 damage instead of 5, and that can be a huge game swinger in large or high mana cap battles when you have monsters that are doing more than that 5 damage. So that's pretty key. And the other last benefit that I think is worth noting and why this card would be in demand is it is very effective at just 1 BCX. So if you're playing in bronze or if you're playing in diamond, it doesn't matter if you have a fully maxed version or just a single BCX, it does its job extremely well. So again, all of these reasons make this a high value team card at the gold level and above, certainly at bronze level as well. And its favored rule sets, or rule sets where it has an advantage, include Armored Up and Spreading Fury. If you get Jinshuala's angry and enraged, his speed goes up quite a bit. He's very hard to hit, especially with phase against all attack types. The next gem of a card I want to talk about that you should be looking at in the market is the Pelicorp Mercenary. Now, the Pelicorp Mercenary current card price around 3 cents. It's had a 3-month peak card price of 8 cents. Its closest existing card comparison is the Flesh Golem, also a tank in the Earth Splinter, and the Flesh Golem's closest card price is $6.88. So you can see here that if you were to buy a Pelicorp Mercenary for 3 cents today, and let's say in the future when this card is out of print and new players are coming into the game and want to access this card, let's say the price per BCX is around $7, well, that's a 229x on your card there. So that's not too shabby. Now the benefits that make this tank or this card meta is, one, again, it's a tank that's very effective for Earth. It's not affected by a Giant Killer. It has the unique ability of self-heal, similar to the Flesh Golem, which makes it excellent. It's very effective at 1 BCX. Aggro specifically mentioned in a recent town hall that they were looking at the Pelicorp Mercenary's stats because it had a very high win rate in bronze for its against its peers, so it's making it a very good card in comparison. Now, it's a high value team card at the gold level and above, which means you need multiple copies of this to get it to gold, and it would be in demand whether you're at bronze, gold, or diamond. And it really shines at diamond, where you can max it out and you get the retaliate, the flight, the speed, the heal. It's really, really good. Now, favored rule sets for this card has advantages in Earthquake, Super Sneak, Explosive Weaponry, Melee Mayhem, Noxious Fumes because of the heal, Rise of the Commons, Spreading Fury, and Up Close and Personal. And that's a lot of scenarios where this card has a tactical advantage. Again, another reason why you probably want multiple copies of this card in your collection at some point in the future. Next gem I want to talk about here is the Pelicorp Conjurer. And this card, again, the cards we're looking at here are cards that I think are undervalued in the marketplace when I say gem. And the reason why I think this card is undervalued is, well, look at the price. It's 3 cents, and it's had a 3-month card price peaking at 8 cents, which is, obviously a pretty steep discount right now. Now, the closest existing card comparison to the Pelicorp Conjurer is the Failed Summoner, and the Failed Summoner is selling for $2.30 a BCX. And if this card matches the the Failed Summoner in the future, you're looking at a 76x in value on this card. The benefits of the Pelicorp Conjurer, again, it's a tank. It's a low mana tank, which is an extra benefit. 2 mana here, getting 8 health with 5 speed and flight is excellent. It has unique abilities, a combination of flight, speed, magic reflect, phase, and high health make this a fantastic card for life. It's effective at 1 BCX, and it certainly has high team value at the gold level and above. Again, this is really an attribute to say, hey, if you're at gold level, would you want to level this card up and burn cards to level it up to make it more scarce? And number two, is this a card that you're going to consider placing in your lineup a majority of the time when you're creating a team? And I think that answer is yes. I think when you look at your cards, Pelicorp Conjurer, especially at the low or mid mana level battles, is something you're always going to look at as a potential lineup starter for your team. Now, favored rule sets for this card include Armored Up, Earthquake, Keep Your Distance, Little League, Rise of the Commons, Super Sneak, and Spreading Fury. All of these rule sets, this card has a tactical advantage in, and if you want to see a video on some of these analysis on why these cards are favored in some of these rule sets, let me know, and I can do some strategy videos on rule sets moving forward and talk about why cards work better in certain rule sets than others. The next gem I want to talk about that I think is undervalued long term is also a life card, and it's a Venare Crystalsmith. The current card price is 12 cents. It's got a 3-month peak card price of 43 cents, so definitely selling at a discount. Its closest existing card comparison is the Divine Healer in the wild format, also a life healer. Its Divine Healer's price is $5.40, making this a potential 45x based on current pricing. Benefits for this card, well, it's obviously tank heal, so that's huge. It's effective at 1 BCX, meaning it gets its tank heal or support ability at 1 BCX, and has strong Chaos Legion Summoner synergy with General Sloan with its archery attack. So that's extra benefit here. It's definitely a high value card at gold level. It's something you want to burn and level up, and something you want to consider running in most meta life teams in some form or fashion. It's always probably in consideration, right? Favorite rule sets: Aim True, Close Range, Fog of War, Keep Your Distance, Little League, and Target Practice. This next gem of a card is the Pelicorp Bandit. This is a fan favorite, I think, of many. Its current card price is also around 3 cents, with a peak 3-month card price of 8 cents. Its closest existing card comparison is the Skeleton Assassin, and that card is selling for $3.19. So in the future, if this card appreciates like the Skeleton Assassin, you're looking at a potential 106x on this current pricing. Benefits that make this card meta now and in the future: it's low mana DPS, and in fact, when you max it out at level 10, it's a 3 mana cost card that is doing 4 damage. And anytime your damage dealt is higher than your mana, well, you are a stud, and this card is definitely that. It has strong Chaos Legion Summoner synergy with Kelia, with the shield being added to this card and the extra speed. Its unique abilities for meta purposes include Sneak, Flight, its high speed, and its high melee damage, and it is effective at 1 BCX. It also is a high value team card at gold, meaning that gold players will look to include this card in their lineup more often than not, and they will want to level this card up at gold to make it effective, burning the card and making it more scarce. Favorite rule sets for this card include Earthquake, Equalizer, Explosive Weaponry, Little League, Rise of the Commons, and Spreading Fury. If you put Pelicorp Bandit at the back of your lineup and it gets hit and it gets enraged, it gets extremely hard to deal with unless you have some kind of magic sneak. Now, the last card I want to talk about for these hidden gems, actually, I take that back. The second to last card is the Venare Bonesmith. This is card number 6. Its current card price is 10 cents. This is a rare card in the Death Splinter. It's got a 3-month peak card price of 27 cents, so it's at a discount for sure. Its closest existing card comparison is probably Bila the Radiant on the life side. That is a legendary card at a little bit more mana. It's selling for $27.50, which is a 275x potentially there. It's not complete apples to apples, but it serves a similar purpose to Bila in the life team as far as the Venare Bonesmith goes. It's just less mana and maybe less effective from a damage perspective, but very close in purpose. Now, the benefits for the Bonesmith, it's an extremely good low mana DPS, especially when it gets poison added to it. It has unique abilities of life leech and poison. It is effective at just 1 BCX for bronze level players, and at gold with poison, it's definitely a card you want to consider, especially in blast and equalizer battles. Favorite rule sets here: armored up, equalizer, fog of war, healed out, keep your distance, little league, and target practice. So definitely a good card. The last gem I want to talk about is Jinshuala, and this is an epic dragon card. Its current card price is 57 cents. Its 3-month peak card price is $1.68. And to be honest with you, I was buying this card at $3.40, multiple copies back in the day, and happily doing so because I really like this card and think it has long-term potential. Now, the closest existing card comparison for this card is actually another dragon card, the Chromatic Dragon, and that card price is $52.89. giving this a potential price increase of a 92x on this card. Now, the benefits for Jinshuala is it's an excellent tank. It has dragon benefits, meaning it can be used in a dragon team, which can be combined with every other splinter when dragon is allowed. And it has unique abilities for a tank, which includes Thorns and Enrage, and it's effective at 1 BCX. Again, checks the checkbox for a gold card that you would want to consider using more often than not, and you want to level this up and burn these cards to get it to that level. The favorite rule sets for this card are Equal Opportunity, Lost Magic, Melee Mayhem, Super Sneak, and Weak Magic. Obviously, Magic is going to be the biggest and quickest way to get rid of this card as a tank, so scenarios that allow armor to block magic or don't have magic allowed at all will benefit this card. Now, as we look at, again, in summary of these 7 gems, what you're going to notice, the trend here is one I can't count. I have Venare Bonesmith and Pelicorp Bandit as both number 6, but besides that, if you're an astute viewer, what you've probably noticed is that all of the cards that I believe are gems currently in the market that are good values are all Chaos Legion rewards cards. Now, these are high print cards for sure, and we don't have precedence here to understand how the market will value these cards. But one thing is for sure, right now the prices on these cards are very, very low. And number 2 is if more players come into the game and you take a step back and you do the math, and I have videos on this, but if you look at the number of players that could come into the game and want these cards, the high print rates for these cards actually, it's not that high at all, especially if these cards check the check boxes of being a gold level card that people will want to level up at gold and higher levels. The cards become quite scarce over time as new players come into the game, which means their values will go up. So I really think that right now these cards, especially at end of season, could be worth taking a flyer on and adding to your collection for a rainy day. Obviously, if you don't have a max level Chaos Legion deck for your level, whether that's bronze, silver, or gold, you're probably not going to want to stack like hundreds of Pelicorp mercenaries necessarily, because that's not really a good use of your funds. But you can continue to acquire them through your daily reward chests and end of season rewards, and you'll be happy knowing that in the future you can definitely have an opportunity perhaps to trade those in for some good returns and then get additional cards and assets in Splinterlands moving forward. So if you're a new player, definitely something to consider and look at. If you're an OG player, I mean, you've been here before and you know how this works, so this is probably not necessarily news to you, but definitely, again, these are things that I think you should be aware of and may want to look at the market next end of season and see if there's some opportunities to pick up some of these cards on the cheap. We are going to have new rewards cards being rolled out here pretty soon, according to Matt and the Splinterlands team. So we'll see what that does to these cards' value. They could drop even more, giving us even more value potentially in the near term for these cards. Definitely don't sleep on them. It's something that I wanted to share with you why I think these cards could be valuable in the future and why you might want to keep an eye on them. Some people may say that these cards will continue to drop in the near future because only like 33% of the cards have been printed and there's going to be a lot more printed moving forward. And that's probably certainly the case, but if you're dollar cost averaging and you buy these reward cards at 3 cents and then maybe they drop to 2.5 cents or 2 cents, is half a penny gonna make that much of a difference in the grand scheme of things? Probably not. Again, you don't always want to try and hit the bottom and buy at the absolute lowest price. If you get a good value and you can get let's say a 10x in the future instead of a maybe you could have maximized and got a 13x or a 14x. I mean, really, it's probably all good either way. That being said, I hope this video has been beneficial, has been informational, and if it has, please smash the like button, subscribe to the channel for more timely updates around Splinterlands, and until next time, keep stacking those stats.
That's entertainment.